Hi, I'm Kenneth Chow, Strategic Account Executive at Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Welcome to Data Academy 2.0. In today's digital world, data is the new oil. How brands make sense, manage, and leverage this data to improve the customer experience is at the forefront of thought leadership. For advertisers, the ability to target and retarget users online using third-party data has been at the center of effective marketing for the last decade. However, with the recent news of third-party cookies being deprecated, there's been an increased focus on how to collect, store, and leverage your first-party data and prepare for the new future of marketing. Today, we will be reviewing the concepts of a data management platform, or a DMP, as well as the more recently popular customer data platform and the importance they both play in the world of marketing today and moving forward. So let's get started. As we all know, we live in a data-heavy world, and this has been the case for more than a decade. How we leverage this data quickly rose to the top of the priority list as advertisers and marketers shifted from a more traditional marketing approach to meet the needs of the digital-first consumer. The ability to accurately identify customers is the most basic prerequisite for marketing analytics, orchestration, and execution. This is at the heart of why DMPs and CDPs have risen to the level of popularity today. In addition, everyone knows consumer behavior has changed to where it's a connected on-demand world. Customers have heightened expectations when interacting with brands. 74% of customers expect companies to understand their needs, while 59% expect cutting-edge digital experiences. One of the largest problems still today is that data within your organization and on your customers sits across multiple teams and departments within your organization. Whether it be your marketing team, partners, advertising platforms, or analytics teams, truly developing a holistic view of your customer remains a challenge at large today. In addition, within those teams, data is fragmented across multiple systems. Whether it be your CRM loyalty platform, your paid media or programmatic advertising data, or your on-prem databases. Data is sitting in disparate systems throughout any organization. Further, as first-party data is finite, many brands turn to second and third-party data to extend reach and build upon your first-party data sets. It's also worth differentiating between what types of first-party data organizations can collect. We categorize between the two as first-party known and first-party unknown or pseudonymous data. So what's the difference? While first-party known is the data that your organization has on a specific individual, such as name, phone number, emails, POS data, etc. Pseudonymous data, typically captured by a DMP, would be the own data of any organization as you visit their websites, apps, or ads, typically captured via cookies, device IDs, or other tags placed on these properties. They are considered first-party data as the behavioral data is owned by the organization collecting it, but considered pseudonymous since they don't know exactly who the individual is until it is matched back to some known identifier. Unknown data is also hard to join for a true cross-device view, connecting cookies and mobile IDs, for example. The biggest gap is the lack of connectivity between these two worlds. So knowing what the challenges have been for the last decade and beyond, data management platforms were created to solve one half the problem, which was collecting, managing, and activating upon all this online data available to brands and advertisers. This is an illustration on the types of data DMPs are able to take in and unify within those platforms. Data such as site and app data or cookie and device IDs, digital ad exposure for retargeting purposes, as well as your second and third party data to enrich your first party. Of course, bringing in known first party IDs to help resolve identity is possible as well. From there, the DMP goes to work unifying, resolving, and allowing marketers to create rich behavior-based audience segments for targeting online through the variety of ad tech platforms, whether it be Google, Facebook, or the various ad networks or DSPs that you or your agency would manage. It's worth noting that over the last decade, there were DMPs designed to carry your first-party data, and those that were developed solely to store second and third-party data for the purpose of reselling to advertisers. Regardless of the intent, all DMPs were designed to consolidate online data for targeting and retargeting purposes. And while a DMP originally was designed to simply take in cookies, over the years the DMP has evolved into much more. As it predicted the demise of cookies back in 2008, which is when the first blog was written on the cookie death, it does not require the cookie to work. You can collect data off any channel, and you can use any first-party data or third-party identifier that is synonymous as a key in the graph. In addition, it brings to the table consent management and AI capabilities to help with audience creation and analytics. And here are some of the examples of the use cases for DMPs. At the foundational level, DMPs have been employed to retarget against their first-party data, managing frequency, as well as enriching your data sets with second and third-party data. As one got more advanced, they would begin building audience personas, retargeting against second and third-party data sets, and creating lookalike audiences. And finally, at the more advanced stage of DMPs, to gather user insights as well as personalizing site content. And so the DMP had solved the problem. And then it finally happening, or is happening today. The death of the cookie was announced. Safari announced that they were blocking a third-party cookie back in 2020, and Google has announced at the start of 2020 that that the Chrome browser, which has about 68% of the global desktop browser market, will no longer support third-party cookies sometime in 2022, which has now been revised to 2023. The third-party cookie has been the primary way that advertising systems have been able to collect data, track, and target users across the web for almost 2 decades. Much of the digital advertising, as we know, is built around the cookie. Needless to say, this is not a small technological change that won't be noticed. Yet vanishing cookies are just the beginning of the challenge that marketers and media companies face today. In addition to this monumental change, we are seeing a drastic change in other areas as well. With a third-party cookie set to vanish, we are seeing marketers investing more heavily in gathering and using their known first-party data. This data, while often smaller in scale, has the benefit of being more persistent than cookies, which were notorious for their short-term persistence. Ever-growing consumer expectations for a seamless and personalized experience are causing the most advanced marketers to rethink their approach to marketing. This means pivoting from a channel-centric view of the world to a customer-centric view. It requires data-driven engagement that spans across touchpoints, creating a coherent customer experience that's not only serving up media use cases, but developing omni-channel experiences across all digital channels. Marketers are also scrambling away from the dependence on third-party data, which is always black box in nature and often provided dubious value. Data sources going forward will almost certainly need to be more transparent about their origin and their composition. And perhaps the most radical shift of all is towards privacy and consent frameworks built to meet the increased demands of an increasingly empowered consumer who is looking to maintain more control over their data and how it's used, as well as government regulators looking to create regulations on behalf of citizens that respond to these privacy and trust concerns. But what has happened is that the channels have grown and the consumers have become more challenging and perplexing, and the volume of data has been exponentially increasing. A new way of doing things was and is needed. There are other forces at work in addition to the media environmental landscape. You know what they are. There's a lot of research supporting this. 1, integration across departments so that every department can gather data and leverage that data. Identity is so that we can have a relationship with an individual versus groups or at an aggregate level. More independence on AI, which is all about trying to predict what is going to happen, and that's not going to stop anytime soon. And lastly, speed, which is all about trying to react in the moment or in real time versus a pre-planned campaign flow. The other thing that is happening is the number of data sources that marketers have on average is growing quite quickly as well. And it's going up around 25% year on year. If you project this out over 10 years, then you're looking at about 140 different data sources. So as the reliance on first-party known data and identity-based marketing becomes important, the need for a solution to aggregate this data easily also becomes important. Identity management is the ability to connect all of our customers' identities. It includes both data and tools for matching identities, both known and pseudonymous. In turn, it creates the ability to unify data about a person from every channel and activate new highly personal experiences for that person in any channel. It is the central capability required to deliver omnichannel marketing at scale. True cross-channel engagement is challenging today because most data lives in silos. Even when data is known, it is in different systems and in different channels. And like our pseudonymous data, our first-party known data, otherwise known as CRM, also lives across systems. This is an example of different types of CRM data within any given organization. There is data from your customer service department, understanding any open service cases or past cases your customers have filed. There's an abundance of POS data. Understanding the shopping behavior of each individual allows you to better tailor offers to them. Loyalty data, which is how important and valuable each customer is to your organization, and any commerce data that reflects her registered and guest checkout orders, as well as your ever valuable marketing engagement data. All extremely valuable data points, and when consolidated, can provide the ultimate experience to your customers. However, relationships aren't static, so your data can't be either. That's why you need a unified data platform to organize and store all this data, otherwise known as a customer data platform. And if you look back at the history of data, you realize that the idea of a customer data platform is not actually a new thing. It's an evolution of CRM for B2C. What we are talking about here is exactly the same in conventional terms as to what we have been talking about since the 80s, even the 60s. If you were being sold a CRM system in the 1990s, what did they promise? Well, they promised marketing for CRM, a single view of the customer, activation across channels, including closed-loop measurement, and the promise to do analytics on this clean customer record, which is exactly what we are promising today with the CDP, simply heavily evolved to meet the very different digital-first customer and their demands. And so this is where the solution of CDPs arose from, to get that unified profile or golden record. Today, there are many different CDP offerings out there. We looked at over 400 RFPs for CDP and tried to figure out what marketers were looking to accomplish. There are two primary categories of use cases, those that called for a system of engagement and those that required a system of organization. Let me explain both. A system of data organization. These are slower moving systems where users might do things like building a golden record for customers, creating segmentation, or enriching their customer data with propensity models. They don't need to be as real time, and they need to be more flexible in the way they capture and process data. Systems of engagement, on the other hand, we think of these as real-time databases where all the customer profile is hot and ready to be accessed in milliseconds. These systems are great for doing things like mobile offer management or site personalization. What was missing was an enterprise-level CDP, which can handle both of these use cases. So how does all of this work? Well, first it's about bringing your enterprise data from Salesforce, your legacy systems, any web and app data through SDKs or web tags, and any data lake or warehouse data you might have. We can take data in with a streaming and batch ingestion service that handles data at any speed as well. Then we transform, cleanse, and harmonize the data into the cloud information model that we created with Google and Amazon. Next, we provision a system of truth through customer resolution, cross-device identity management, and data governance tools that ensure trust. We store the data at unlimited scale, and then we can action data across multiple engagement platforms. Messaging platforms such as Salesforce Marketing Cloud, or advertising platforms using our Advertising Studio for Facebook, Google, or any other major ads platforms and DSPs. Any real-time interaction management systems for real-time personalization and event triggers, and lastly, integrations with Datorama for media analytics or Tableau or other business intelligence platforms for analysis. So you can see the goal is to create a unified customer data profile, including all data points you have on an individual, segment and activate through your desired channels using an omni-channel approach to create a truly personalized customer experience. So what is the vision of marketing for the future? Well, we understand that many customers continue to rely on a DMP infrastructure to collect, store, and segment and activate their pseudonymous data. While cookies will go away, many marketers will still need to manage their non-PII data. We see CDP as a big part of the future of CRM, and we believe our solution, which comes with an ambitious and roadmap, will help most organizations build a durable first-party data asset that can extend beyond traditional marketing use cases. These parallel systems can work together and will help provide customers a bridge to a new cookieless future. Our ultimate vision is to build the DMP's pseudonymous data capabilities and functionality into the CDP. CDP near and long-term roadmap includes key DMP use cases including the management of proxy and pseudonymous data for segmentation, profile enrichment, and activation via external partners. Thank you, and I hope you found today's session informative, and stay tuned for additional industry content coming straight to you from the IAB.